My first million, take one. Hey everyone, this is Will Hernandez, and this is how I spent and saved my first million. I started playing football my freshman year of high school. First time I've ever touched a football, first time I've ever stepped on a football field. I started going through some growth spurts, and let's just say it was probably this way as well. Right away, my position was offensive line, big guy, offensive line. I've dedicated everything I've ever had to sports, but I did have one job in college. I was a bouncer at a nightclub downtown in El Paso, Texas. I made a good, honest $10 an hour, which at the time was a lot for me. During the college times, it was a little hard to, go out and just spend money. I was a big dollar menu guy. I'd wear my college clothes basically 24/7. I was using UTEP all the time. As a kid, I lived in a rough neighborhood, and the only debt I can actually remember having, I was blessed enough to have a full ride scholarship, so I didn't have any student loans or anything like that. But I did have a debt with the lady that used to live across the street from me. She sold tacos out of her garage. She had her own little business there. I love those tacos. I would go across the street almost every day. My mom would give me money and I'd go eat. And it got to a point where I was going so much that my mom was like, forget it, I'm not giving you any more money. I still wanted to eat, I was hungry, and I went over and I told her, I'm like, hey, I don't have any money, but can we get a tab going or something? And she said, yeah, go ahead, order whatever you want and we'll keep track. I said, okay. That tab piled up. I forgot about it, went off to college. After my first season, I came back and I was able to repay that taco debt I had. She never told me anything about it. She never chased after her money, but I ended up paying double what I owed. That was my thank you to her. Just a little bit of interest. The bill actually ended up being about I would say $600. She lost count after a while. She was just feeding me at this point because she liked me. Nothing's ever even came close to the feeling of getting drafted. It's something you've been chasing after for so long, and then you realize that it's finally within your reaching. It was a great feeling. And when I hired an agent, as much as I wanted to get educated on the process, I kind of let him do his thing. I wanted just to focus 100% on football. They direct deposited it, and I was a guy, all throughout college that constantly would be checking my account. I got to make sure I got enough before I buy this. I got to make sure I have enough in my account before I buy that. It was just another one of those times. I checked my account, woke up, and boom. I'd seen maybe one comma throughout my whole college career. And I wake up and now I got two in there. I remember I jumped out of my bed and I was excited. As much as it hurt to see how much money was gonna go to taxes, I was just so happy to have money for once. Yeah, it stings a little bit, but it's okay. Saving money was very important to me from the very beginning. My current strategy right now is one, being diversified, and two, saving 70% or even more. I did buy a few things that, probably weren't necessary, but at the same time, very necessary. It is a contact sport, high risk. You could be playing today and not tomorrow. It's kind of hard to think about that when you first get money and when you first start playing, because you feel like you're invincible and you want to play, and injury is one of the last things that's on your mind. All your focus as a player is getting better and doing good and performing and earning your spot. When those thoughts do creep into my mind, it definitely humbles me a little bit and gets me to spend a little bit less. This can end all tomorrow. I want to try to gather up what I can now and definitely save and invest. It's very important to save your money, but this is how I spent my first million. So the very first thing I bought, and this is something I've always wanted to buy for my family, it was a house for them. It was our family home. I bought the house in Las Vegas, Nevada. I grew up there. This is when my parents first came. We settled there. All our family's here now. So I wanted to, keep everybody together, and I got it in Las Vegas, Nevada. If I ended up saying how much the house was right now, this interview would probably be over right now. We didn't even live in a house when part of my life growing up. We were living in this shed. The roof was literally about 5'7" high. I had to walk around the house like this. So this was very, very important to me, especially seeing my mom, my sister, my dad, kind of living in these conditions. I've always, thought they deserved the world. So this was something, as soon as I was able to do for them, I did. I always wanted a bidet, The bidets are like these toilets that require no toilet paper. I tried one for the very first time at a casino here in Las Vegas, and I was like, hell yeah, like I want one of these. No toilet paper. Think about the investments. All that toilet paper money going right towards the investments. That was the very first thing I got, and I don't regret it at all. And I'm happy with it. The toilet was around $4,500, but very worth the investment. Again, not an expense, it's an investment. Toilet, $4,500. Well spent. I'm a big dude. I'm not that fast. I want to be able to go fast. So I bought a GTR R35. I would say that was my next biggest purchase. The GTR came out to $115,000. The thing about the GTR, very fast, but also very silent. Kind of sounds like a vacuum when you first get it. So what I did right away was I threw in a catback exhaust, make it a little bit louder. I bought the car originally white, and I wrapped it, blacked it out, satin black with the black gloss details. So GTR, $115,000, upgrades around $10,000. Car, $115,000. Yes, I got my dad a truck, only because, he's been driving his work truck pretty much his whole life. He's never had a car to himself. I got him a big Chevy Silverado 2018 Black Widow edition with the 6-inch lift, big 35-inch tires, awesome truck, and that one ran me about $68,000. Truck for Pops, $68,000. As much as I love cars, and I'm a big car guy, as soon as you buy that car and you push the start button, that's how much is going out your pocket just for pushing that start button. I'm very into superheroes, I'm comic books. One day, I was just strolling by New York City, saw a comic book store, went in there, and there just happened to be a life-size 6'5" Batman action figure. I was like, wow, that would look awesome in my living room. I went, picked it out, grabbed it, $3,000, and took it back to my place and, put it right up in my living room. One more random item that I got was the Infinity Gauntlet. I actually have it right here. I take this thing everywhere with me. I saw it, I was all like, wow, this is awesome. It's actually real steel. It has a big rubber glove in there, so you can actually put your hand in there and actually move these things around. Infinity Gauntlet ran me up $1,000, but it was another one very well spent, and it looks very nice in my kitchen. I got the standard, big couch, the big nice TV. I have an Xbox, a PS4, and a 70-inch TV. I also have a massage chair where you can, just get in there and it gives you a good massage. $20,000 living room setup. The very last car that I bought was a 5.0 Mustang convertible for my little sister. And the reason I bought this one for her is, one, she deserves it. She's gotten straight A's since she was a first grader. She's in college now, working to be a doctor. So, I wanted to give her something, as a gift. She's always been content with whatever it is that she drives. She never asked for anything. My parents have never had to worry about getting her the top name brands, clothes, cars, or anything like that. She's always been happy with what she has. And so this was the motivation for me even more to get her something nice. The Mustang ran me $45,000. Mustang, $45,000. So I've never been too much into fashion and expensive clothes and really expensive jewelry. Like I said, I shop at Burlington. I rock Jack Daniel t-shirts and Selena t-shirts at least once a week. I still wear my college gear sometimes. Coming into the NFL, of course, there's a certain standard. There's a lot of events, there's a lot of parties, a lot of NFL get-togethers, and that you have to be well-dressed and presentable. I did have to buy certain, standard clothes. I would say I spent around $20,000 in suits, for game day, in nice jeans and shirts and, things that I can wear to these, events and conventions and NFL parties. Suits and clothes, $20,000. I went on my first real vacation with my family to Hawaii. This was a place that ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to go to. When I finally got the chance, I took my family out there. It was a great time. I got to do cool things like, swim with the dolphins, get to explore the island, go hiking, drink water straight out of a coconut. Cool things like that. And, this was my very first vacation and definitely one I won't ever forget. As much fun as we had, and this was a family vacation and everything, it was a little costly. Flights and hotel, I would say around $4,000 or $5,000. Now you got all the activities that we did on the island, probably another $3,000, $4,000. Mom and sister wanted to buy this and that, and I would say around total value of the trip around $10,000 to $12,000. Trip to Hawaii, $12,000. So as far as expensive meals, I had recently just gotten into sushi, and I kept hearing from the guys on the team that Nobu was the spot to go to in New York City. So I went down there, took my family with me, and I've never been to this place before. And I was very, very hungry when we got there that night. I get there, I'm looking through the menu, I'm just ordering random things off the menu and not even looking at the prices. I know, big baller. All of a sudden, I have like 10, 12 plates in front of me. And the thing about Nobu, it's quality, not quantity. Very little pieces of fish here and there. And I eat a lot. I'm surprised at how good this stuff is. It's a really good place. But the biggest surprise of all is when I get the bill at the end. Now it's just like, damn, like what did I just do? But you know what? Again, let's just see it as an investment. Very good food, and definitely would go back. Investment for the memory. The bill was, for the four of us, around $3,000. Dinner at Nobu, $3,000. Everybody knows about the rookie dinner. Eli Manning actually, he invited us all to this really high-end restaurant. So it was all the offensive linemen and the quarterbacks. So there was around like 20 of us. Everybody starts ordering, everybody's eating. I had a great time. And all of a sudden it's bill time. And Eli Manning is the one that invited us, so we're all like, I thought I was just getting invited. The waitress comes and puts the check in front of me. Everybody just starts going, ooh, people are laughing, I'm freaking out because I see, a bunch of food, steaks, wine bottles everywhere. I haven't even gotten paid by the NFL yet. The only money I had was a stipend that I've gotten from my agency, so I'm freaking out. I see the bill, $27,000. My heart just starts pumping and pumping. All of a sudden, I just look up at Eli, and he tells me, thanks for dinner, Will. And everybody just starts saying, thanks for dinner, Will. I'm trying to see how it even came out to $27,000, and I just see, private room, $8,000, wine, $4,000, and it looks legit, and I'm like, wow, okay. So I take my credit card out, and I had just enough to cover the bill in my bank account, but that was all the money I had. I didn't want to be that guy and not pay and say I'm not I just threw my card in there. I was just ready to get it over with. That's when Eli comes up and just starts laughing and says, hey man, just messing with you, Will. So like, we already took care of it. It's all good. Everybody starts laughing, and that was pretty much my first dinner with Eli Manning and my welcome to being a rookie. When I was 18 years old, I got this half sleeve going. During this off season, I added this whole forearm and made it a 3/4 sleeve. What it is Aztec and Mayan art. This is my roots. This is where I came from. Also, it's motivating for me. These guys were warriors. These guys were survivors. These guys were go out and hunt and provide and survive. It had a lot of meaning to me. The stuff I just did was around 3,000. 3,000 tattoos. This is roughly 300,000 right here. And with mom and dad's house, that definitely puts me at $1 million. All right, well, this is how I spent my first million. You know, having it right in front of you definitely makes you think twice about spending it.
Are you happy with how you spent it so far?
Yes, no regrets. Everything that I've ever done is, you know, I try to think about it, you know, I did it, I learned from it. That's it. I don't regret things, I just learn from them. So there's one more thing that I did with my money. I donated some money to charity, and this was to the El Paso Youth Foundation and the El Paso Community Foundation. I donated this money because there was an awful tragedy that happened. You know, there was a shooting in the Walmart in El Paso, Texas. A lot of people lost their lives, a lot of families were affected. And so this was something that hit home for me because I basically really grew up in that city. I was there for 5 years. The El Paso community was very good to me during my time there. So I donated some money to that charity to help fund the youth and kids being able to take that next step to college and get an education. All right, guys, well, this is how I spent and saved my first million. See you guys at the Giants game next year.